Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hearthstone 4 Kaiserreich United Kingdom. Let us continue on from where we last left off. So, we're going to be starting the trials against the Syndicalist. Then we're going to do, Fate of the Unions. Of course, it is like 1934, so... Or, 1934. 1942. So the time does go by a little slowly. I'm sure this will get resolved once the major wars are over. Like, maybe when Russia is dead, there's not going to be as much calculations going on. At least that's my hope. Okay, Mongolia has joined a war against the Qing government, and the Syndicalist trials begin. The trials have begun for those Syndicalist leaders captured by British forces, including Arthur Horner, who has turned himself into the police not long ago. Horner's trial received considerable attention in the British media, and he's spoken eloquently about the need for Britain to come to terms with its history of labor, but also its future. Indeed, there are some who regret giving him the platform at all, as he seems to have gained many sympathizers. Some policymakers suggest that these trials are best used to make an example of traitors. Others say that harsh penalties will only inflame the resistance further. We get political power or we get stability. I'm going to take the stability for sure. Give me the stability. At least for right now. Followed by Fate of the Unions. Thank you for the guns. I do appreciate it. Like, do we want to deploy any aircraft? Or, like, 15 planes? Protests rage against show trials. As the Syndicalist trials wind down, they've attracted a fair amount of protests from labor supporters, including the supporters of Arthur Horner, who has only recently attracted. That the sentences have handed down have been fairly light, seem to have taken the heat out of things, but even so, these protests have to say that the trial should not have begun in the first place. There is nothing they should be apologizing for, read the signs. British police had kept a close eye on the protest, so they did not escalate into violence. Okay, so people don't really like the BRA at the moment. I don't know when we'll ever get rid of any of these modifiers. I mean, probably somewhere. Yeah, fight the Syndicalist resistance. Legacy of the Revolutions at 0.5. Negative 4% from Syndicalist resistance. But if it gets more than 20%, we can no longer return to a free government. Okay, wartime rationing ends. A bit of good news to greet the country today. The wartime rationing, which most have endured for well over a year now, and in some cases much longer, have officially been lifted by the BRA authorities. Import restrictions have been removed, and already British supermarkets are seeing a return to meats and cheeses and fruits that had all been vanished since Syndicalist rule began. For many Britons, even though many still have their meals funded by the government, the sign that things are substantially improving. Thank you for stability. Love to see it. Thank you, Ireland, for giving us the aid, for the political power. Not really enough for me to... I mean, what do you want to pass first? Medium amount. I'm guessing the 300 is a large amount. Business subsidies, employment. Question is, does it make sense to even spend on the 100? Or do you think the 300 is worth 3 times more? Syndicalize the economy. You remove penalties of legacy of the resistance. Okay, so I mean, there's so much political power we need. Like, do you grant us any political power? I mean, we'll take the 50. You get 50 off of you. We get the question of labor. You get 100 from restoring the foreign office. The experience, I think, is basically garbage. We could restore the exchequer. What would we want to follow that up with? Factory and docket output plus 20% is, like, incredibly good. Man, negative 10% consumer goods as well. I think we're going to take the 20% factory output. And just get cheaper weapons. The military factories, I don't think I care about as much. Even more cheaper stuff. Civilian factories. New BBC. Research plus 15%. Like, some of these focuses are actually, like, really good down here. Okay, Portugal, thank you for the motorized. Like, I'm not sending any troops to... We're not sending a single soldier to India, because it's just, like, what would be the point, right? Like, I don't think it would actually accomplish anything. Okay, let's follow you up with Be organized a bureaucracy. Give me this ability. The fate of the unions. The defeat of the Union of Britain brought with it the destruction of the old trade unions that had supported the syndicalist regime. However, there's still the question of whether British workers should be allowed to organize on a local basis to defend their interests. Indeed, the entire infrastructure of labor groups ready and waiting to begin setting up unions once again, and merely waiting to see what the government considers acceptable now. Banning them entirely would not go over well with these groups, to say the least. One argument is that the government should set a small number of controlled unions and ban the rest. Some others say that the unions aren't the problem, and trying to get rid of them now will only evite disaster. I will set up... Nah, ban all the unions. Get them the hell out of here. No unions in my Britain. I'm... How dare you even think about asking that? Or you're a medium amount. New protests over banning the unions. Labor supporters took to the streets across the country today, angrily protesting the government's complete ban on unions. We're right back to where we started, aren't we? One UN demands from the reporters. No unions represent us, just the corporations walking all over us as they please. What are we supposed to do? Just lie in the street now? Do we have no say in our future? Police have reinforced the British Army, but have so far taken no direct action against the protesters in fear of escalation. We can suppress the protest. I'm not going to lose 250 political power. We're not backing down. This is for your own good, Britain. For your own good. You don't need no stinking unions. Not when you have the power of the king. Like, what else could you possibly want? Okay, those like the Australians are trying to do a naval invasion of Calcutta. Definitely has not worked even remotely. I mean, is there anyone else like that you'd be fighting? Like Burma, I think could maybe theoretically in the future join up with. Plenty of you, high popularity, begin a British tour. I just don't think it's worth it. It doesn't seem good enough to me. I mean, the Qing government is kind of... I can't really tell who's winning in China right now. I mean, the Qing are losing ground to the defending government, but are doing okay in Mongolia. More anger over union bans. Protests over the bans against unions have continued, particularly in Wales and Scotland. Labour leaders have maintained a position that allowing the government to control when and where the British workers can stand up for themselves will inevitably lead to exploitation. Thankfully, it seems that the protests are losing steam, though at the same time, there's evidence that syndicalist militias are starting to take on a lot of recruits. Okay, we are at 12% stability, but do not fret. We will overcome this problem together. Maybe we should bring the boys back home and not in France. Just in case. I know this doesn't make any actual difference in the game. Let's bring our troops back home. We now have 4 submarines. You love to see it. I mean, have they taken Moscow? No, they're fighting over Moscow right now. I do think eventually Russia will lose the war. I just don't know how long it's going to take for them to lose the war. Okay, thank you, Greece, for the aid. We're at 200 again. I'm going to save up for those juicy 300s. Because you're medium. But you're medium at 2 different levels, so I'm not too sure really what the difference is. Oh, I guess Germany, France, and Italy have just determined to split Switzerland between them. I thought at some point they would release the countries, but apparently not. $212. We're getting closer. And I don't think we really need to change any of these that we have at the moment. Improved artillery, we can definitely upgrade it to be the advanced artillery. And can I import anything yet? No, I still have no factories. Very cool and excellent. I'm honestly, we'll take the 1943 upgrade as well. Might as well get our artillery to be in tip-top shape before any potential wars in the future. I mean, like, how good is our faction? We have about 10 million manpower, but I'm pretty sure that's including the entirety of the Japanese as well. We got 408 divisions in the Entente. Mostly, I would imagine... Actually, most of them are from the Canadians. I thought the United States would be number 1. I mean, Greece is actually the second place with 50. I'm very, very surprised about. Like, at some point, okay, they land another troop in Calcutta. The Canadians are just going to sacrifice wave and wave of their own men, trying to kill Calcutta. Hard to commune, man. Sometimes they just last too long. Like, you should just give up at this point. Like, I don't know if there's a single syndicalist country left in the world other than the Bahari Commune. Well, they're technically totalist, but I believe that is it. I mean, you have some social democrats, but yeah, basically, syndicalism, socialism is just dead in this universe. Just the Bahari Commune remains, and they're not going to last too long. Also, I'm surprised how many people in this playthrough has gone National Populist. Anyways, thank you, Portugal, for the aid. We're now at 300, which means we can now pass one of you. Let's get some farming subsidies. No, business subsidies. Let's do some business subsidies. 300 political power on that. We'll see how much you decrease this instead of being, what, negative 60. Yeah, like, it's so bad. It's almost incredible how bad that penalty is. But I do feel like there should be more of that kind of penalty for a lot of countries. The fact that France doesn't have those penalties, or all of Italy doesn't have those penalties, they should, for sure. Like, the whole world should basically be destroyed by this. Same with the United States. I know they technically have, you know, their own penalties here from recovering from the Civil War. But I'm pretty sure our penalties are worse than theirs. So if anything, the people in the United States are living a high life. While us over here in the British Isles, we're suffering. I mean, there's no way that the Russia can win, right? I mean, the way that Hearts of Iron 4 works leads me to believe that, like, it's very, very hard to come back from this. I mean, we'll see. We do want Russia to win. Yeah, I think we do want Russia to win, just because they would be able to fight Germany a little bit longer. We have some interest in killing Germany at some point. By the way, I guess at some point, Hyderabad and Dominion of India are going to go to war with each other, aren't they? Which in turn is going to lead us to go to war with the Japanese. Which will be a little bit annoying. I mean, they have a pretty large army. Where would it even have, like, a launching point? I guess from Australia. They are in the... This guy's name's Isaac Isaacs? Who names their child with the last name Isaac? Isaac. Like, it almost seems... It seems cruel to me. Okay, thank you, Costa Rica, for the aid. And does it say... It doesn't actually tell us how much this affects things. Okay, Moscow's finally fallen. Okay, the returning autocracy. The British exiles returned to the country only now to find that their land's been stripped and their former homes now occupied are demanding that their properties be returned. Problem, of course, is that the new occupants assumed ownership legally according to the Union of Britain. So they say having their homes now be stripped from them is unfair. There's a simmering resentment among the aristocracy who fled after the uprising in 1925, which is feeding into this growing conflict. And now the government is being called in to decide on the matter once and for all. You can compensate them your stability loss. The current owners will be compensated, but they still have to give it up. I feel like that's a decent compromise. Now we'll do the question of labor. By the way, how's stability looking? Cynical resistance at negative 12%. So if they finish fast enough, can maybe still get a free government. But we'll see, we'll see. It'd be hilarious if, like, the syndicalists just win the election. I don't think that can happen. We have a month on you. And as long as this doesn't tick above 15%, we have to go free government. And honestly, we'll probably go free government anyways because I'm a nice guy. Then we can do reconstruction complete, get political power, restore the foreign office, not own Ulster. Guessing this would bypass them automatically. We can try to get the British Empire back together. We get the leadership of the Entente. We have more than 25 ships, which we do not have. I mean, we're getting there because we have a bunch of absolute trash submarines we're building. But yeah, we have 6 right now. It doesn't matter how good the ships are. As long as we have 25 of them, we can be the leader of the Entente. But of course, we don't get any of the Royal Navy back. They're all still the Canadians. I mean, the Canadians have about 190 ships. I feel like I should get those ships back. Maybe that's just me. I've completed the Irish question, which I think will be bypassed automatically because we already own Ulster. Okay, so I got 2 weeks left on you. What are our allies doing? Relocate industry, new warfare. The Canadians, you're not at peace. When you're at peace, you could theoretically declare independence, which I've not seen before. Well, I mean, we did it in our Canadian playthrough just for the shits and giggles, but I've never seen the AI do it, mostly because by the time the United Kingdom already exists, the campaign's over. Yeah, the Hardy Commune, not having a great day. Hyderabad, they're trying to fight the Japanese, or not just fight the Japanese, trying to fight the British. My brain's melting. They're trying to fight the Germans. You keep on landing on their shore. Here comes the Pope, trying his best. He didn't take any blade with the naval base, though, so it's going to be difficult for him, to say the least. Okay, but looks like there's been a pretty decent breakthrough here. So many men have died. 1.93 million Entente troops have died in the war against the Hardy Commune. There's like a 4-to-1 casualty ratio just with the Dominion of India. Incredible. Okay, thank you for the political power, Ireland. I do greatly appreciate it. We'll wait until we have 200, maybe, to pass one of the 200. I don't know, let's desyndicalize the economy. And we'll weaken the effects of Legacy of the Revolution. Okay, research slot. Let's go for... I mean, what do we want to go for? Do you have any tanks? We have 1940. Let's go 1943 medium tank. I think that seems decent. Thank you, France, for the guns. I do appreciate it. Let's reduce working class taxation. I know you said I was going to say I was going to do the other thing, but I've already clicked the button. Do we have an agency? No, and we also... Oh, we get it for free. Okay. The question of labor. With the prospect of holding free elections looming, now the government must consider when and if said elections occur. Will the Labour Party still be allowed to participate? Clement Attlee has presented himself in Parliament to make the case for the party, saying that while it did cooperate with the syndicalist government, it also didn't have much choice. The Labour Party was never in a position of power in the Union of Britain, he says, and all it could do was try and make things easier for the average citizen. The Labour movement itself should not be punished. There are those who question Attlee's motives and suggest that his personal collaboration with the Union in and of itself is criminal. Though clear that Labour has a huge amount of support, banning it would prove difficult. We can pardon the Labour Party, we can ban Attlee, or we can just ban the Labour Party. You know what? We'll ban Attlee. Sorry, Attlee, you've got to go. And you know what? We'll return to free government. Congratulations to the people of Britain. After several months of preparation, the provisional government has completed arrangements for the first election of Great Britain since the liberation. The king has formed issue with the writ of the 660 seats in the House of Commons, and the political parties have begun their campaigns. And excitement has spread throughout the country. Even those who have harbored doubts of the government's intentions now feel like freedom is truly at hand. Thank you for stability gain. We got the Conservatives, the Liberals, and the Labour Party. United Empire League. I don't know who can actually win the election. I mean, we didn't even get up to 15% syndicalist resistance, so I don't even know how you get up to 15% in the small amount of time that they give you. But I do think, at least for right now, it's going to be a good time for us to end this episode. So thanks to everybody for watching. I say Anthnwam. If you enjoyed, give me a thumbs up. Now do a thumbs down. You want to subscribe, and goodbye.